Let us all rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request all the dignitaries to come forward to light the lamp and start the celebration of knowledge. I request all the dignitaries to please offer homage to our beloved late Dr. Colonel A. Balasubramanian sir.
If four things are followed, having a great aim, acquiring knowledge, hard work, and perseverance, then anything can be achieved. APJ Abdul Kalam. The NDA, or the National Defense Academy, completes 75 glorious years of its existence on January 2024. And on this occasion, a year-long commemorative activities to highlight its achievements in various spheres are being conducted. Sri Balaji University pays a befitting tribute to the visionary founders of the academy and also honors the sacrifices of its alumni and their efforts to safeguard our nation.
Good morning and welcome to this insightful panel discussion on the relevance of military leadership in corporate world. Today, we are honored to have us with our guests, each with a wealth of experience in leadership and strategic decision making. With great pleasure, we extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Sri Balaji University, Pune. We are gathered here today to understand how military leadership principles emphasize discipline, teamwork, clear communication, and adaptability in high-stress situations. These qualities, which are essential for success in the military, are increasingly recognized as being transferable to the corporate world. As organizations face complex challenges, finding valuable insights from military's leadership experiences can guide and inspire corporate leaders. On this occasion, I, Ritisha Batulwar, student manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune,
And I, Rohit Nair, student manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune, are honored to be the masters of ceremony for today's event.
it is an honor to welcome our guests, Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, Veer Chakra, Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Lieutenant General Lieutenant General Dalip Bharadwaj, Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal. Squadron Leader Milind Baliga, Group Captain Anant Bevur, Vayu Medal Gallantry. Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan, Vayu Medal. Brigadier Prakash Gogle, Vishishta Seva Medal. And Brigadier Ajit Apte. I would also like to welcome Honorable Chancellor SBUP, Professor Padmanandan Balasubramanian Sir, Vice Chancellor SBUP, Professor Dr. G.K. Shirde Sir, Deans, Directors, Deputy Directors, faculty members, and all the participants. Thank you all for gracing us with your presence. May I please call upon Professor Dr. G.K. Shirde Sir, Vice Chancellor SBUP, to address the gathering.
Good morning to one and all. Namaste. Namo Nama. Very good, very good. His Excellency, our founder Chancellor, the President of Sri Balaji Society and Sri Balaji University, Pune, late Honorary Colonel Professor Dr. A. Balasubramaniam Sir, the Chancellor of the University, Professor B. Paramanandan, my smart, learned, experienced team of Sri Balaji University, Pune. Certainly, it is indeed a matter of great pride, privilege, and immense pleasure to welcome a galaxy of bastion of the brave which we are having today in this auditorium. It gives me immense pleasure in the sense that, sir, we met at Aggression when Bala sir has started these management institutes long back in a rented school where I was a faculty, visiting faculty, and the people, those who were visiting there, sir, salute to you. The another salute to Pandit Saab. We met at SIEMS, Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, for defense personnel only. The seeds of that SIEMS were sown by Bala sir. And I was also there as a faculty. And therefore, first time I am so happy that I met people maybe 30 years back where we met on different occasions. And that whole credit goes to our Bala sir. Sir, year 2024, which is the glorious jubilee year as far as National Defense Academy is concerned, which is called as a Platinum Jubilee. 75 glorious years. India is known everywhere for transforming select young Indians into a dazzling diamond, illuminating the country with its radiant brilliance. Shri Balaji University, Pune is known for the principles of 3D, as we have discussed in the boardroom. That principles of 3D is nothing but it is concerned with, a deeply motivated with. The 3D means discipline, dedication, and determination. It is not that only saying that these are the principles of 3D, but the success mantra of Balaji University of Pune and the society lies absolutely on the principle of 3Ds. And not only that, but we are having a very well thoughtfully defined our tagline. And what is that? This is the University for Opportunities. And whenever we use the word opportunities, first, we understand the difficulties, bottlenecks, obstacles. And therefore, the another tagline which is established by the Colonel Bala, and with his innovative practices, we say, problems are opportunities. And when problems are opportunities, then certainly these problems are nothing but preparing the young mini India in this particular campus with a very innovative teaching pedagogy, and that includes today's session, that is the learning from experiential people, knowledgeable people, how they have innovated, conquered not only the nation, but for the safety and security, a great sacrifice made by these honorable, the people which we are having with us. It is really a great pleasure to welcome you, sir. At the same time, I want to mention a few things. Running management programs and the institutions is a very simple way, as we can find out in the nation. N number of the universities, N number of the institutions are there. But this university is a differentiating university, in the sense that our working style, our working strategy is absolutely different as far as the MBA program is concerned. And here, it is not only the specialization, it is not only the core subjects, but along with that, so many things have been shared from time to time, and very smartly we keep engaged all our young mini Indians who are sitting in front of me. So with these very introductory words, once again, a very warm welcome to one and all, and this is a real salute to our Bala sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now call upon Dr. Biju Pillai, sir, Dean SBUP, to address the gathering.
Respected Chancellor Professor Varamanandan, respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. G.K. Shirudi sir, and all other veterans from the Indian Armed Forces, my dear friends. Today is a special day for me also. I have a strong army connection. My father was in the army for more than 30 years. He joined the army as a soldier, Sipai, because in 1960s when he was doing US, those days it was PUC, pre-university course, 1 year course. Now it is +2, those days it was 1 year course. My father was good at his studies and he got an admission in for the PUC, slightly away from my hometown. And on the day of paying the examination fee for that day, he was not having sufficient amount to pay his fees. During that time itself, he has appeared for this army selection process, and he was having an offer from the army that point of time. He waited for the last day for his fees. My grandmother was late to send it, so he ran away. In fact, it was not a choice for him. He ran away and he joined in the army. As I said, he joined as a Sipai. Then after a few years, during 1960s, after India-China war, Indian Army was recruiting people for College of Military Engineering here in Pune. And from the Armed Force itself, he enrolled into College of Military Engineering. And then he completed his diploma, 3 years diploma in engineering, and he was there in the army for more than 30 years. He retired as a honorary captain. Once he told me, if a Sipai get that many, if an officer get that many number of promotions, I may be wrong, sir, you can correct me, that was my father told me those days. If an officer get, as a second lieutenant, an officer get that many number of promotions, he will become the general of the army. That's the maximum promotion a soldier can get it, a Sipai can get it, that is honorary captain. So that is the connection which I have with Indian Army. If you look at our beloved Bala sir, he was also enrolled in the army as a Sipai. He retired as a Subedar. Later on, he has been conferred honorary colonel. So he was not an officer. Later on, he was conferred as an honorary colonel towards the contribution he has made for the Indian Armed Forces and their dependents' education. Someone was referring about APJ Abdul Kalam. APJ Abdul Kalam once said, unless India stand up to the world, nobody will respect us. Fear has no place in this world. Strength only get the respect. Strength respect the strength. Today we have a lot of potential threat. We may think Pakistan is a potential threat for us. Pakistan, according to me, with your permission, sir, Pakistan is not a big threat for us. The biggest threat for us is China. Once upon a time, there was a country called Tibet, we used to say. Today Tibet is a part of, even though many of the countries are not accepting that thing, but still it is a part of China. One of the main reason for that is Tibet was not having a proper armed forces or strength. That is the reason they could easily invade that. I know that many of my students, some of them sitting over here, might have appeared for combined defense examination and you could not clear. People say we gone up to the last this thing and we couldn't clear, and that is why we are doing MBA. Some of your our alumni, those who completed their MBA, later on they join Indian Armed Forces. That's also there. There's an opportunity still open for you. See, our country is safe. Today we are sitting here comfortably having this kind of an interaction at this point of time. Please don't forget, somebody standing there in the border. Not only day, they don't have any day or night. There is no fixed duty time. The moment we sit over here and within inside this air-conditioned auditorium, sitting here and we are complaining, Just think about the soldiers. Because of their sacrifice, we are enjoying. They also do have a family. My father used to come. He used to come every 6 months. Normally, the people comes every year, but then he used to manage somehow, and he used to come every 6 months. And I used to see, for me, it's a visiting father kind of a thing. For my kids, today, every day I'm there with them. So I never had that kind of a childhood. He's still alive. He is a true soldier now also. Touchwood doesn't have any kind of ailments, etc. He's doing well. So friends, let us salute these heroes and let us salute the Indian Army. We, the Balaji University, have signed an MOU with the Indian Army. You are all witness to that thing. This is a beginning. We have a lot of things to do it. And as Dr. Shrude sir has said, if someone asks, what is a success story of, what is the differentiation factor between an MBA institution in this country and Sri Balaji University, there is only one difference. That nothing but the principles which Bala sir has inculcated to this institution. That is not his invention. Understand, that is not his invention. Whatever he has learned in the army, he has just transferred that into education. That's the biggest success. You may crib about our discipline, you may crib about our policies, but when you go out of this campus, people will always appreciate. Without your knowledge, a transformation happens in you. Thanks, the credit goes to Indian Army principles implemented by none other than our beloved Bala sir. I take this opportunity to welcome all the legendary people sitting over here, and my salute to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are also delighted to announce that this year marks the 25th anniversary of Sri Balaji Society, and we are celebrating this significant milestone with the Silver Jubilee celebration. On this auspicious occasion, we fondly remember our founder and chancellor, Professor Dr. Colonel A. Balasubramanian sir, lovingly called as Bala sir. He was a person who had the magic to make everything possible.
Sri Balaji Society was established in the year 1998. It was the dedication and vision of our founder which helped us achieve the status of university in 2019. SBUP is one huge campus offering postgraduate management programs through its 4 management institutions: Balaji Institute of Modern Management BIMM, Balaji Institute of Technology and Management BITM, Balaji Institute of International Business BIIB, and Balaji Institute of Management and Human Resource Development BIM HRD.
As per the Times of India, B School Survey has ranked our Sri Balaji University Pune as top 2 B schools in Pune, top 3 B schools in Maharashtra, top 6 private B schools in India, and top 11 B schools in India. Sri Balaji University has also been awarded as Times Education Icon 2023 under the category of Excellence in University Education, Corporate Learning and Placements. During this panel discussion, we will explore the impact of military leadership on corporate settings, the skills and the characteristics that cross over, and how these distinguished panelists have successfully transitioned from the military to the corporate sector. Before we begin, let's take a moment to extend our deepest gratitude to all our panelists for their service to our nation. Their sacrifice, dedication, and expertise have undoubtedly shaped their own leadership skills and paved the way for this important conversation.
May I now request Mrs. Pandit and Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, PRC PVSM, to come upon the stage. May I now request Dr. G.K. Shirde, Vice Chancellor SBUP, to felicitate Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit and Mrs. Pandit with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. May I now request Student Manager Sharmishta Pillai to introduce Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, VRC PVSM.
Thank you, Ratisha. I, Sharmishta Pillai, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune, is honored to introduce our today's guest, a real-life hero, Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Veer Chakra, who has selflessly defended our nation. Born in 1934 in a small village, Ghatanji in Maharashtra, early education in Nagpur and Yavatmal, passed matriculation in 1955 with flying colors, 6 distinctions, 4th in order of the State Board, was awarded 3 scholarships for higher studies, yet opted to join the National Defense Academy in 1951. After 4 years of rigorous training, was commissioned as second lieutenant in 1955 in the Corps of Engineers of the Indian Army. He saw action in Nagaland against Naga hostiles, commanded an engineer regiment during war, and finally retired as the Adjutant General of the Army in 1992. In 97 Indo-Pak War, he was the Engineer Task Force Commander in the offensive operations deep inside Pak, Punjab, and was awarded coveted award Veer Chakra. Later, in 1990, he was awarded Param Vishishta Seva Medal for successful conduct of operations against Pakistan. He is an all-round sportsman, played squash in services level, and now playing golf. He is also keen on physical fitness and yoga. After retirement, he was actively involved in multifarious welfare activities and rehabilitation of disabled soldiers and education. Proud of his unique tri-service family, himself a lieutenant general in the army, son a vice admiral in the navy, and son-in-law air marshal in the air force, all 3 products of the NDA. After fruitful stints with Intel and Dell as distinguished engineer, now CEO of his own company. We are truly honored to be in the same room as you, sir. Please join me in giving a huge round of applause to Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, PVSM VRC.
May I now request the Lieutenant General Dalip Bhardwaj, PVSM, AVSM, to please come up on the stage. May I now request Dr. Biju Pillai, Dean SBUP, to felicitate Lieutenant General Dalip Bhardwaj, PVSM, AVSM, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. May I now request Student Manager Pratiksha Kolpe to introduce Lieutenant General Dalip Bhardwaj, PVSM, AVSM.
Thank you, Rohit. I, Pratiksha Kolpe, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune, is honored to introduce our today's guest, Lieutenant General Dalip Bharadwaj, Param Vishishta Seva Medal and Ati Vishishta Seva Medal. He is a man whose very essence exudes strength, determination, and unyielding love for his country. Hailing from military lineage and educated at Sherwood College, Nainital, he is a proud NDA alumnus and a veteran of 1971 war. With an illustrious career, he has commanded significant military units including an armed regiment, independent armed brigade, and infantry division, leading over 15,000 personnel. His international contributions are substantial, leading the first Indian contingent to the UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon and overseeing logistics of 25,000 personnel from 9 countries at UN force headquarters. General Bharadwaj's service and achievements have impacted the armed force and the nation at large. He stands as an extraordinary leader deserving to our warmest welcome and admiration. Let us all extend sincere gratitude to Lieutenant General Dalip Bharadwaj, Param Vishishta Seva Medal and Ati Vishishta Seva Medal of their unwavering commitment and service of our country. We are truly honored to have them join us today.
May I now request Mrs. Baliga and Squadron Leader Milind Baliga to come upon the stage. May I now request Ms. Vinita Deshmukh ma'am to felicitate Mrs. Baliga and Squadron Leader Milind Baliga with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Student Manager Niharika Ruhela to introduce Squadron Leader Milind Baliga.
Thank you, Ritisha. I, Niharika Ruhela, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune. It is my distinct privilege to introduce Squadron Leader Milind Baliga, a remarkable individual who has exemplified the highest standards of dedication, leadership, and service throughout his distinguished military career. His journey is a testament to the unwavering commitment and sacrifice of our armed forces. A gentle warrior of the 1917 Indo-Pakistan War, Squadron Leader Milind Baliga's unassuming demeanor belies his remarkable role in the historic 1971 Indo-Pakistan War. Hailing from Hubli, Karnataka, Sir's journey from the National Defense Academy to the Air Force showcased his dedication to serving the nation. Beyond his sweetest disposition lies a courageous spirit driven by the unwavering love for his country. During his teenage years, Sir possessed a natural athleticism and often devoted his time to engaging in leisurely activities and playing cricket, for which he later received the Maroon Jacket, an honor given to soldiers who display exceptional cricket skills. Post-retirement, he worked as a distributor for the Modi Entertainment Network, which later became ESPN and Star Sports for the North Karnataka region. And then he started outsourcing for banks, and finally retired in 2006 and moved to Pune in 2014, where he is now staying with his wife. We are privileged to have Squadron Leader Milind Baliga here today. Thank you for your service and the profound impact you have made on our nation. Let's show our appreciation with a round of applause that resonates with the respect they deserve.
To moderate this discussion, we have the honor of welcoming Ms. Vinita Deshmukh, editor, Corporate Citizen Business Magazine. She is an award-winning journalist who has dabbled in investigative and public journalism for over 3 decades. She is a published author and a consulting editor. We are confident that she will guide the conversation with finesse and help us gain invaluable insights from our esteemed panelists.
Before I start? Good morning, esteemed panelists, and good morning, everybody here. So today we are going to have some very interesting session. Like all of you are students of this institute, and they all have been students as 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds in NDA, and how they grew up to be officers, courageous warriors, and gentlemen. But General Pandit, whom I know since my Indian Express days in the last 30 years, he is an amazing writer also, and he does various social activities, and now he has commanded that he wants to speak for 5 minutes before I start the session. So I have to give him the honor. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. I hope the backbenchers can hear me. Yes, sir. This is not a wake-up call for you. I am just taking. Because like you, when I was in NDA, I have learned the art of sleeping with eyes open. Now I am at an age where no rules apply to me. And I can make my own rules. Not only that, I can break them myself. So today I have intervened and convinced Vinita to give me 5 minutes here. Now my relationship with Vinita goes back to her father-in-law. He was my senior, and he was, as my senior, responsible to initiate me into the army. It was a pleasure to meet her, and I must say, she is more persuasive, more diplomatic than the father-in-law. Now I am the eldest member of the panel today. I am not saying oldest. I am not old. Although you heard my date of birth, I am reaching what business people call the use by date, but I am not yet there. So I am available, part 1 and serviceable. So as the eldest person in the panel, I take this opportunity to do 2 things first. First, homage the founder, Chancellor, my friend Bala. I met him first in 1994, I think, and spent 3 years with him to help him in my own little way when he was busy with SIMS and what was the first institution? IITM or whatever is there. He was then very smart young man before he got on to the beard. But I remember very well his message was discipline, determination, and devotion. And he lived by that. And see where he reached. I think he is the first example in the army where a Subedar, retired, has reached that pinnacle. He was no less than a general in his own life. And I salute him. He has left a great legacy in the form of this institution which will endure for life. Next, I would like to thank the Balaji University management and citizen. What is your magazine? Corporate Citizen. I thank them also for digging us out from our retirement and giving us chance to meet young people. It is very, very invigorating and sort of a tonic to see young student managers. You have chosen a very good line, and I'm sure we are watching number of generals, air marshals, and admirals, not necessarily in the defense, but every field requires a leader. Every field wants a leader. And whatever you reach, you become a general in that particular establishment. Now I will apologize to Vinita, hand over the mic back to her. I hope she doesn't take it back on me when I'm sitting there.
Really honored. Thank you so much for that crisp and very nice speech which you gave. So today now, actually, General Pandit and Baligaji are in an awkward position because their leaders are sitting next to them. And so we will come to that. That is going to, of course, be a question. But first,
she asked a very embarrassing question earlier. You are a commander in the field. What was your status in the home? My answer was simple. I said, I survived 64 years, so I must have done well. There was an absolutely clear understanding between her and us. I rule the battlefront, she rules the home front. Never interfered with each other. But our ladies are our unsung heroes, let me tell you. Not only her, Mrs. Baliga is here. Every armed forces lady is an unsung hero. In those 64 years, she has seen me off to battle 4 times. And every time seeing a man of the house to battle, you know what it means. Thank you. No more interference.
thank you so much. Since General Pandit has already interfered and he's put my last question first, so I might as well go with that question and ask Baligaji that who's the leader at home?
It goes without saying that at home, she's the boss. When she's not there, I am the boss. And I don't think this is only my story. It is a story of all the married people. Thank you.
Thank you. So, in this Navratra, we heard the magic of women empowerment. So, now General Bharadwaj, he's happily sent off his wife to Peru. But we certainly want to know who's the leader in your house.
Actually, it's the easiest question to answer. Obviously, it's the lady. It's always been the ladies, and it always will. That's our culture. And let's be very clear, we are very, very proud of our culture.
Yes, the ladies in the armed forces, they do magnificent work, not only at home, but even in the society in which, in the battalion, their wives, they look after them, and there are a lot of stories about it. So thank you so much, both of you. And I'm just getting serious now and going to the second question, which was actually the first. So General Pandit, if we could start with you, since you are the most senior. So, the word strategy. So the name of the session is Strategic Leadership Skills in the armed forces and how they can be applied in the corporate. So General Pandit, could you tell us that the word strategy, actually this question is for all three of you, has it roots in war-related planning? So while you're preparing for a battle, there's so many eventualities, approaches, everything has to be considered to form a strategy which will be finally successful. So could you tell us that what is the strategy in military leadership and management, and how corporates can learn from this? So we open with you.
May I request these two ladies, they can go and sit in front and listen to us?
I thought they were giving you nice positive energy. Okay.
Okay.
But if they're comfortable, it's fine. It's up to them.
Really cool.
He's always boss.
Here.
You can talk better when you see her in front of you.
That is my muse.
Lolita, he can talk better when he sees
Yes.
us.
Now, this question of leadership, it is a question as old as the human beings. What is a leader? What is his job? What are the traits? All kinds of studies have taken place. Oh. All kinds of studies have taken place, theses have been written, books have been, films have been produced, but we still haven't come to an answer. Now today the topic is really comparing the military leadership and the corporate leadership. It is again a very difficult comparison because these two forces are totally different. Their ethos is different. Their aims and objectives are different. Their cost and benefit analysis is different. So you have to understand first how different is the defense force from the corporate life.
So if you could just put a mic near.
Beg what?
Mic, zara.
Yeah. Now, there is also a perpetual question. Are you a leader or are you a manager? Now, I personally feel that leader and manager are not different. They are two sides of the same coin. If there is a leader, he has to work and manage his team. If he is a manager, he also has to act as a leader. only the emphasis keeps on changing. Generally speaking, as a leader, you think of human relations. He's leading his team, commanding his men, moving them forward. And as a manager, you are talking in terms of resources, finances, profits, and so on. There is also one very big difference. In defense, we have no employees. We have no hire and fire relationship. It's only at the time of recruiting that the man is checked up. Thereafter, he is like my family man. I have to train him, I have to look after his welfare, I have to punish him, I have to reward him and take him along. And he is for life. Not only that, command responsibility is to ensure welfare of that man, welfare of his family, his welfare after retirement. So all this is totally different than a manager in the corporate sector. My friend Dilip will speak little later. He is more conversant with the corporate environment. I only see from distance. Now I will ask one question in return. When you talk about leader and manager, is Manek Shah, can you call him manager? By the same token, can you call Ambani a leader? Your first answer when you talk about Manek Shah will be that he is the leader. Mahatma Gandhi was a leader. Our Prime Minister is a leader. But when you talk about Ambani, Tata, they were great entrepreneurs, great managers. But leadership aspect comes later. Then the responsibility. In the defense, responsibility is indivisible. While the consultation advisory process is available to the commander, finally the decision is his and his alone. Responsibility is not diffused. Like in the corporate sector, decision is that of the board. Now, if there is a setback, the commander, a good commander, will always own that. And normally, a relationship between a commander and his command is that I give you the task, you succeed, success is yours. You fail, failure is mine. In the private sector, it is different. Everyone tries to save his backside or whatever they call. So all these things have an influence on leadership style. Even in the services, when you are a command appointment, your leadership style is different. Your leadership traits that are required are different. You become a staff officer, you behave differently. You become a teacher, you become like something else. So you have to be extremely flexible and to suit your style of work to the environment.
Right.
Even leadership today, against a conventional threat, we are fighting hybrid warfare, low intensity warfare. Earlier we used to see the enemy. We knew the objectives, what to capture, this city, that line. Now today we don't know where is the enemy. Enemy may be behind my back somewhere. He may be wearing clothes like me. And I can't identify him. I can't decide what is the target. So every time you have to keep on changing.
Yeah, so actually this part will come later on.
Yeah.
So I'll just finish this round first.
Gotcha, okay.
Thank you so much. What you mentioned was right.
One last point.
Yes, sure.
One of the situations that a military leader feels is to lead the men in war. That's a big, big honor. We are Indian Army. When I talk about Army, I'm talking about Air Force and Navy also. We are extremely lucky in our men. Our men are amongst the best in the world. It is up to us to live up to them. So, when you take them to war, we have to lead them in such a manner that he overcomes his physical fear. Every man has got survival instinct. He doesn't want to get hurt. He is afraid. But he is also afraid of failure. If I fail, what will happen? What will happen to my men, my friends, my unit? So, in a good unit, where the morale is high, the second fear will be stronger. I can assure you, myself, in war, whenever I was busy with my work, I was not alive to any firing around me, danger around me. But when my job was over, I became conscious. I looked for my shelter. Where is my trench? Where is my helmet? So the good leader has to create an environment amongst his team where the team is ready to work for the aim and each other's safety. And lastly, every soldier lives by the motto, service before self. We are ingrained in us, particularly the officer cadre. My nation first, my men next, and then only always last myself. And this creates a team spirit which finally achieves the aim. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful answer. And yeah, so that's a big difference, an employee in a corporate world and the man who comes as a soldier becomes a part of your life, professional life and family life. So let me go to Squadron Leader Milind Baliga. Sir, could you just answer this question? How strategies in military arena and how they can be adapted to the corporate world?
Well, I must tell you that I learnt about strategy at the very beginning of my career in the Air Force, because the war was looming against Pakistan in the eastern sector. I was posted in Kalaikunda in a NAT squadron, and we were wondering now what is to be done, because we had some time. Basically, like what General Pandit said, General Manekshaw said that the war will start only after monsoons are over. Basically because in the east, after monsoon, it is so marshy that forget about tanks and trucks going, even men couldn't have gone through. So the war started only after the monsoon was over. At that time, we were planning as to what is to be done. We were also close by. Kalaikunda is very close to the border, but still for the NAT, we couldn't go that far deep. So we decided that we will go to Dum Dum and operate from there. When we went to Dum Dum, it helped us because we were closer to the enemy as far as our range was concerned, and also being closer, our endurance also could be was enhanced, with the result that we stayed put in this thing. So I was sent early in August, September to Dum Dum to fix up the airport for our operations. So we had to do underground this thing for our pilots to stay, and bunkers for our aircraft for the operational readiness platform, ORPs, which is next to the runway itself, so that we can In case we are scrambled, we get out fast. So this was done, and then finally the squadron moved to Dum Dum, and because of this war, what had happened was because of this migration of the Bengalis coming into India, we had time to even train them to fight against the people who had created genocide against them in East Pakistan. So we trained them all in this thing, and when this thing started, as Mukti Bahini, we moved inside that territory. As we went in, they retreated, with the result that we went further inside, and then they asked their Air Force to blast these people in this thing. Now they asked for help from us, but we couldn't do it because war was not declared as yet. But just to frighten them a little bit, we started doing CAP, that is the combat air patrol, close to our border at 10,000 feet so that their signal radar units could have a look at us. And so then once this started, we realized that they were not coming in for these things. But when we were not there, they used to come, and actually just like how we practice on our range, they were doing it on our army. So then when once our radar picked up them, we were scrambled, and 4 aircraft from our squadron took off and went there, and we shot down the first 3 aircraft. This is on 22nd November, even though the war had actually started on 3rd of December. So we shot them down, and fortunately for us, the pilots ejected, and our army was down there, and we picked up. In fact, Brigadier Apte was one of them who picked up one of the pilots from the Pakistan Air Force. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. They couldn't say that we entered their territory because then the pilots were with us. So we said that it was you who intervened and we shot you all down. So this is how I find that strategically, as a youngster, I learned a lot from how to make strategies for this thing, because it helped us firstly that way. Secondly, I must also point out a very major thing was, at one time we had 74 aircraft on Dum Dum, and if these people had one aircraft, you would have destroyed all the aircraft from there. But the reason why we had 74 aircraft was basically because, first of all, we had shot down their aircraft. After that, we had neutralized all their airports. So their air force was absolutely neutralized, with the result that we were not scared of anybody coming. That's how and these 74 aircraft were here because we were planning a major paratroop offensive against Bangladesh, which became Bangladesh later, East Pakistan, and all the paratroopers were taken from Dum Dum to wherever they were told to go. So this is how we managed to do this. And that was my experience at a very, very young age.
So you learned the strategic leadership skills on the ground zero itself. I come to you, sir, now, General Bharadwaj. You have been in the corporate also. So you have a vision of both the fields about strategic leadership skills. So could you please, maybe you could take this.
Thank you very much. I'll just address that in a second. Firstly, let me say how honored I am to be here today at Sri Balaji University. Honored to be amongst young men and women who are the future of our nation. And when I stood over here and looking at all of you, I noticed that glint in all your eyes. And I realized, yes, our nation is secure. Our nation is secure because we have the finest young men and women who have emerged and going to take our country forward to the greatest heights. So remember one, like what General Pandit said, our nation first, always and every time. Right. The next person who's going to be damn thrilled today that I'm here is my daughter. My daughter studied in Sims in 99-2000, and she always fondly recollected how Balasa used to guide them. And today, I'm here. So when she gets the clip of a photograph, I know in Peru, she'll be thrilled. Thank you very much for that, the honor that you all have given me. Strategy. Strategy is something that we dealt with in my 40 years of service, plus 4 in the academy. And now, what was my first brush with strategy was in those early 4 years. Just to give you a little recap, Brigadier Prakash Gokhale was my senior in Charlie Squadron in India when I joined. I'm all of 16, and as all good teenagers, full of mischief and ready to do something for some bit of excitement. Brigadier Gokhale, of course, was my senior, and he was an appointment, and he was supposed to look after all of us. So one weekend, we all decided to go on a gunna raid. Raid the gunna fields at night.
Sugarcane
The
fields.
sugarcane fields. The sugarcane field, as they call it, gunna raid. Now, a couple of us decided that, okay, we got to do it. So what is the first thing? You formulate an aim. So what is the aim? Go for a gunna raid. Then you have to decide, when are you going to go on a gunna raid? Obviously, it'll be at night. The second thing was, how will you get out? And how will you come in? That is after ensuring that exactly where is the gunna field. Now, we also were not too familiar. We knew it's vaguely in that direction. So, we made the full plan. How are we going to get out of the squadron, away from the hawk's eye of Brigadier Gokhale? How are we going to, which route are we going to take to ensure that no sentry could catch us? How are we going to hoodwink the farmer, but yet ensure that all we're going to bring back are 2 sugarcane pieces? One for all of us, there were 3 of us, and one as proof to the rest of the squadron that yes, we bought the gunna and we've completed the raid. So that is the type of
Strategy.
strategy that you had to. And what were we? All of 16. So despite any aura that you can put on strategy, each and every one of us strategizes to achieve an aim.
But did you get the gunna and did you get punished?
Yes, we got the gunna, but we never got punished because we never got caught. So if you never got caught, we never went on a gunna raid. So we managed to do it successfully. Now, the point is, how do you apply it? Well, you apply the whole thing by first enunciating an aim. The aim has to be extremely specific. In the army, in the armed forces, we call it aim. In the corporate world, it's a vision statement. It's got a wider connotation because the parameters are more variable, and that is how they look at it. And also, their strategy is over a large period of time, whereas ours mostly is specific for short-term exact aims out of there. Of course, we got a strategy for long-term periods too, but we are just talking about the immediate aim out of there. So that's one of the primary differences. So once you've identified your aim, and it should be absolutely clear as to what you do, you've crossed the first tick the first box, let's put it that way. Then you have to discuss and think over all the factors that take place. In the armed forces, it's actually the ground, the objective, the routes, and each and every one of them. In your case, it's almost similar. In the corporate world, you'll be talking about finances. You'll also be talking about the competition from your competitors. And you analyze each and every aspect. You look at your products, the products of your competitors. So it is absolutely similar. But do remember one thing, that as far as management and all these aspects were concerned, it was the armed forces which initially started it. We were the pioneers who had to actually, because we were the leaders of the largest gathering of people with a common objective, the army, the navy, and later the air force. So that is how we actually were the initiators, we were the pioneers. However, once the corporate world took over, yes, it's the corporate world that is leading as far as management is concerned. They are coming out with new techniques and we are learning from them as far as management is concerned, not leadership, as far as management. And that is how we go on. So it's all very similar as far as how you have to strategize, whether it was in the armed forces or what we've learned, and as far as you all are doing it in the corporate world. And do remember that you have to know, as in the army we say, know your enemy as thyself. You must know the enemy better than the enemy knows itself. And therefore, you in the corporate world must know who your competitors are. What would they be thinking? How would they react? So therefore, that is the part of industrial espionage, gathering of intelligence, that is essential as far as y'all are concerned. We also do the same. We get all our information and make sure that the plans are modified in such a way that you are never ever caught having done, and you have to succeed. So therefore, as far as I'm concerned, strategy is a common thing, it's common for the armed forces and the civil, and also the basics are just the same across the board.
Thanks so much for your profound thoughts. And as you mentioned, it just suddenly struck me about that the enemy, you should know the enemy better than the enemy knows itself. And in the corporate context, maybe the students would agree that the Nokia disaster and which is a Fuji camera disaster, I think, are a couple of examples where they didn't know that they would be, overtaken. So coming from strategic leadership, let's go to the next round, and that is how do you deal with the unexpected? Like today, first, of course, in the context of the armed forces in your military, air force, navy, or whatever sectors you all are working in, and then how do we do that for the corporate sector also? In fact, today expecting the unexpected has become even for individuals with all these wars and bombs and everything that's going on. So could we just ask you, General Pandit, like how did you counter the unexpected and make a success of it?
You mentioned about unexpected.
Yeah.
When we plan for war, we have certain data available from various sources, but other side is also as active and as deceptive as we are for them. Terrain, equipment, technology, we don't know what is the latest actually. You see even the Gaza operations. Israelis with the best technology available could not correctly assess the Hamas aims and objectives. So it is a matter of guesswork. There are lots of gray areas, but we have to cater for unforeseen by having enough reserves at your level. And with those reserves, correctly and timely used, you should be able to influence the battle. We are taught that The higher you are further away from the battle. A battalion is in contact with the men. Brigade commander is little behind. Divisional commander is behind. Corps commander is further behind. So accordingly, reverse way, the higher the commander, you should plan few days ahead. Battalion commander fights today's battle. Brigade commander must assess what is likely to happen tomorrow. The divisional commander must go couple of days more. Highest commander must be thinking, where are the strategic reserves of enemy? In 71 war, we were guessing all the time where is Pakistan's strategic reserves of armored division and infantry division. We didn't know. And because we didn't know, we were hamstrung in deployment of our forces because we had to cater for that reserve. So it's a battle of wits and your ability to spring surprises.
Thank you so much. Balaji, if you could answer the same question, that how do you counter unexpected situations in your peace and war both times, and any particular incident you can recollect?
In the Air Force, the main problem about unexpected is like we won't know when people will come and attack us. When the first, generally when a war starts, it's first generally the Air Force which starts, because that is the biggest surprise we get. And that is how we are prepared at all times. Now if you go towards the borders today, there are aircraft at 2 minutes standby, 24 hours, 365 days in a year. Of course, we do it in turns, and day and night. Throughout, we are this thing. Now, just to give you a small this thing, I uttered the word scramble when I spoke last time. The word scramble is that you have to scramble if the radar picks up an enemy aircraft.
Okay.
Actually, what is happening is the moment the radar will warn us in our room on the ORP. Okay. Scramble, scramble, scramble. There's a loudspeaker, there's a bell which rings, and you get it on the telephone also. Nobody bothers about the telephone, but you run about 50 feet, jump into the aircraft. The aircraft is kept ready for you to this thing. The men are also ready. They also get the scramble. So the starter and everything is fixed and kept ready. So you run to the aircraft, get inside, start the aircraft, of course after strapping yourself, go, and the runway is just next door. So you run, you take the aircraft there and take off. Now from the time you had set the last scramble, like scramble, 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 you start the clock, and then you press the clock when the wheel leaves the ground. Can anybody guess as to how much time it will take? Sorry? 2 minutes. Well, you're not very close. It takes at an average of 45 seconds on a gnat.
Wow. That's really
Of course, the advantage the gnat has was the starting was 10 seconds, and secondly, the brakes were in the feet itself, not in the hand like this, which the other aircraft have. So with the result, and then for climbing, you didn't have to have a seat, because the aircraft is 2 feet wingspan and 21 feet from nose to tail. It's a very small aircraft. So that's how, and the height is about 6 feet plus. So when the canopy is open, you can just jump into the aircraft, right? Like how you just scale a small wall, like how these people scale the wall and cross the road. Same like that, you just scale and get inside and strap yourself. You can, at the moment it starts, you wave off the chocks, then you can strap while you're going on to the runway and then take off. Of course, all safety things are taken into consideration before all this and checked. So this is how we practice, and this is what a scramble is.
So you always expect the unexpected. Bharwaj ji, could you just add further to it?
Actually, when they talk about the armed forces, they talk about a soldier scholar. Because the armed forces is not all about bronze. It's the brain. It's the brain that matters. And you've got to keep thinking each and every time how to outwit your enemy. I'll give you an example. You must have all, at some time or the other, read about the First World War. The First World War, which was fought in Europe, primarily between the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians, and of course, the Western powers, which were France, Britain, United States, everybody, including India. India also sent 2 million troops. Now, that war came to a stalemate in which there was a big row like these flowers of trenches, minefields, wire. And both sides were looking at each other, firing at each other, both with artillery and small arms, but couldn't move an inch forward or backward. That's the time the army, the scholars got together. They said, how do you break this stalemate? And that was the invention of the tank. The tank with those chains had the ability to cross the obstacles and make a breach through which the rest of us ran. The tank reached its highest power of maneuverability during the Second World War. You must have read or heard of generals like Rommel, Montgomery, Patton. They were outstanding tank commanders who used to be able to maneuver, and the tank was seemingly to be undefeatable. However, soon the counter came to it. People thought, how do you counter a tank? And they came, and in a matter of a couple of decades, they came out with the anti-tank missile, which actually proved to be quite a deterrent and a menace during the Israel-Egypt War, 1967. Thereafter, the tank got more armor, more defenses, and became more secure. And now what do you have? You got the drones. So the drones have come. So there is always a fight between the equipment of having defense and offensive. And you got to keep thinking. That's what the armed forces keep doing. Keep thinking, how do I do better? The same thing over and over again. And today, everybody's swearing by the drones. But the protection against drones have also come. So therefore, like I said, there is nothing static. The only thing permanent is change. And that is what we all keep dwelling on.
Thank you very much. So now, just the last part, I'll just give a one-liner answer, and thereafter we open the, should we have the question answer now? Yeah. So we open it for questions. Just in one line, you all mentioned that in the armed forces, there is no employee. So once the soldier or officer, whoever is recruited, you have to be with him throughout the tenure. So could you tell one way that you can stop the attrition, give an advice to stop attrition in the corporate world? One idea each. Suppose a youngster wants to leave the job.
Attrition.
No, so what I'm trying to, again, I'll just say the question is that since you were in the army and there was no question of attrition there, right? So you had to do with your men and give them whatever it takes to make them work better. So for the corporate leader who is facing attrition, can you give him one idea to stop it? What should he tell the youngster that will make the youngster not leave the job? Or maybe someone else could start it.
I think
Yeah.
the the point that we in the army, we propagate the entire thing that we are a family. And we fight Naam, Namak, Nishan. We fight for the name of my unit. We fight for the oath that we have taken together. And we fight for the flag of my unit. These are the three main things. Now, as far as the corporate world is concerned, my way, the way which I have seen a bit of corporate world, that unless you don't make him feel that he is part of you as a family,
Right.
he will move on. So how do you get him to feel that he's family? That is what, when you talk about team building, now each and every one of you, I'm sure, your assignments keep coming out to you all today as to how are you going to build the team. And if you think that it's just, okay, must be lad, let me remember his birthday or his marriage anniversary. No, it doesn't start. It starts there. Yeah, it's one of the aspects of how to bond. But it's the empathy. It's that love, that affection without familiarity. After all, you're the boss and they are down there. So they must still respect you for what you are. But yet, it's all respect, both ways. You respect them, they will respect you 100 times more back again. So unless you don't develop that relationship, I don't think you will be able to achieve anything on as far as that is concerned.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
When I said that we have to carry our man, it does not mean that we carry a dead work. He is also identified. A bad chap or a total rotter, he is down. The principle is continuous training of people, on-job training or formal courses and so on. With the result, despite that, no human being is equal to other human being. In corporate world, perhaps you can choose top class for all your appointments. In the army, the people you will get will be a 9-pointer, 1, 8-pointer, some more, 7-pointer, 6-point. So ability of the leader lies in spotting the ability of that man and to get the work out of him to that level. If I ask too much, he will break down. If I ask too little, he will become lazy. Right. So you have to correctly train, identify his level of contribution and get that. And as the General just mentioned, team building. People die for the name of the unit. Even today, Indian armies, or for that matter, Air Force and Navy, their success is totally dependent upon the battalion commanders. The higher commanders have to provide guidance, supervision, and material support and so on.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Balagaji, would you like to add?
The only thing I can say is, when you, like what we are saying, service before self and all these things do count. But the most important thing, how to keep a good relationship with your team is give credit even if that youngster has done something. Just give him some credit so he feels also great that we are learning from him. And that will definitely see that he will always be with you at all times.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think it was very insightful. Let us give them a big hand and then we throw it open. No, anybody, any questions, please? He's basically asking that he read a quote somewhere which was said that instead of aiming for a 5-meter, whatever the staircase, you should first aim only for the first step. So he says that in the corporate context, is the shortcut method good for success? And is there something like a good shortcut and bad shortcut? That's what he says. If you could answer.
Frankly,
Yeah.
frankly, everything is on building blocks. If the foundation is not firm, then you cannot build that imarat, as they say, on a wobbly. So your foundation has to be very strong. And to you all who are now at the threshold, this is your foundation. This is how you're going to embed yourselves. And you'll be known that you come from this very prestigious university or institution. You studied here. This is giving you your foundation. Hereafter is the building blocks which keep coming up. Now, remember, there is no shortcut to success. It is sheer hard work, perseverance. If you think that you can climb up to the top of the ladder without any hard work, I'm sorry, it's a fluke. I quote it in many of my lectures that you're all well aware of the person who's called the Wall, Rahul Dravid. Now, Rahul Dravid did not become a sensation overnight. Rahul Dravid used to practice 8 to 9 hours every day, day in and day out. And it has been logged that he has done 10,000 hours of practice before he was then called the Wall. So also are the great icons now. And we've got so many of them in front of us. And they keep adding to the list, especially after the Asian Games. One better than the other. They all achieved their success through sheer hard work. So my recommendation to you is just don't try any shortcut. As they say, even knowledge don't come from kunjis. Kunjis are just, there for a quick, short exam if you want to go. But if you want to imbibe knowledge, go for the hardcover books. And they are the ones which will build you your foundation and take you up. Remember, in the Indian Army, if you're caught taking a shortcut, you could be put on charge.
No.
I will quote one one-liner. Shortcut often turns out to be long cut. Keep that in mind.
That's a good one.
My only request is try not to become a yes man. A yes man always goes higher and higher, but he's never a good leader.
Thank you so much. We are short of time, so last question. Yes. Put your mic near. So what he's saying is that during challenging times, it is, you become more negative. That's what he says as father for civilians. But how is it like the opposite for a soldier? Why is that any challenge sometimes makes you depressed or gives you negative thoughts or perhaps diffidence? So how does challenge make it more positive for a soldier? That's the question. Baligaji?
Just for a soldier, a challenge is if he'll never get depressed. For him, if there is a challenge, he doesn't want to fail. With that, keeping that in mind, he will always go forward. Like what General had said, he has to be inculcated to that he should not fail. His idea is to win, but he will never fail. That is, if you keep that in mind, you will never go back. You will always go forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for this session and for all the wonderful things.
Thank you so much for an insightful session. May I now request Dr. G.K. Shurade, Vice Chancellor, SBUP, to present the token of appreciation to Lieutenant General Dalip Bharadwaj, PVSM, AVSM.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
May I now request Dr. Mittal Mohite, Controller of Examination, SBUP, to present the token of appreciation to Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, VRC, PVSM. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Dr. Manisha Shukla, Head Shri Build, MDP Department, to present the token of appreciation to Squadron Leader Milind Balika.
session now, so we can begin this. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let us proceed with the second panel discussion. May I now request Group Captain Anand Bevur, Vayu Sena Medal, Gallantry, to please come up on the stage. May I now request Dr. Archana Srivastav ma'am, Director BIMM, to felicitate Group Captain Anand Bevur, VM, Gallantry, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Student Manager Sharmishta Pillai to introduce Group Captain Anand Bevur, VM, Gallantry.
Thank you, Rohit. I am Sharmishta Pillai, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune. I'm honored to welcome Group Captain A.G. Bevur, Vayu Medal Gallantry, a true pioneer in the skies. Commissioned into the Indian Air Force, he embarked on a remarkable journey that left an indelible mark in the annals of aviation history. Group Captain A.G. Bevur joined the Indian Air Force in October 1965 as a transport pilot. He has flown 5,000 hours on 11 types of aircraft. He is a flying instructor, was an Air Force examiner, and the senior instructor at Defense Services Staff College, Wellington, during his 28 years with the Air Force. He was one of the 12 pilots selected for training in the USSR on the giant Illusion 76. He led the airborne assault into Maldives in 1988 with 200 paratroopers by landing the very first Illusion 76 in Maldives on an unlit runway at night, which resulted in defeat of a coup. He joined Onward Technologies Limited in Feb 1994 and helped increase their CAD and CM software sales turnover from 75 lakhs to over 5 crores. He held the appointment of HR manager in Onward for 2 years, and after 22 years, retired as the senior vice president in 2016. He has conducted training programs on values of the armed forces that apply to the corporate world. Please join me in welcoming Group Captain A.G. Bevur, VM Gallantry, true icon in the realm of aviation, whose insights and experience will undoubtedly enrich our conversation. Thank you, sir.
May I now request Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan, Vayu Sena Medal, to come up on the stage. May I now request Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, Director of BITM, to felicitate Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan, VM, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. May I now request Student Manager Pratiksha Kolpe to introduce Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan, VM.
Thank you, Rohit. I, Pratiksha Korpe, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune, is honored to introduce our today's guest, Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan, Vayu Sena Medal. Commissioned in helicopter stream of Indian Air Force in June 1969. Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan Vayu Sena Medal was privileged to take part with 110 helicopters as the youngest pilot the world's night Heliban operations at night at 7 and 8 1971. Heli lifting 4x5 Gurkha rifles troops with their weapons, stores, RT guns and rations behind enemy lines to enable the fall of stronger Pakistani brigade by this fearless Gurkha aided at helicopter force. Hereafter, he took part in famous heli bridging of mighty Meghna River in East Pakistan, whereas part of 14 helicopter force that lifted over 6,000 troops and 3,000 kgs of RT guns and stores the 57 Mountain Division. And helicopter dropped them close to Dhaka in 4 days and nights to facilitate the swift fall of East Pakistan and birth of new nation Bangladesh without the loss of any helicopter. 2 Veer Chakras and 2 Mean D were awarded to the unit. He raised and commanded Mi-17 helicopter unit that took part actively in Operation Meghdut at Siachen Glacier and Operation Pavan in Sri Lanka with IPKF. He also commanded another Mi-17 unit leading the Air Force Flypast and the Republic Day and Air Force Day Pardes in 1994 and 1995. He commanded a large missile base at Thane and later commanded the biggest transport base at Zorad. Please join me in welcoming Air Commander Ram Mohan Sridharan, Vayu Sena Medal. His extensive experience and dedication have greatly contributed to our nation's security, and we look forward to hearing his insights and wisdom today.
May I now request Brigadier Prakash Gokhale, Vishisht Seva Medal, to come up on the stage. May I now request Dr. G. Gopalakrishnan, Director of BIM HRD, to felicitate Brigadier Prakash Gokhale, VSM, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. May I now request Student Manager Niharika Rohila to introduce Brigadier Prakash Gokhale, VSM.
Thank you, Rohit. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Niharika Rohila, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune. I am honored to introduce you Brigadier Prakash Tularam Gokhale, Vishisht Seva Medal, a remarkable leader who has excelled in both the military and corporate sector. A kind, soft-hearted, and yet ferocious war hero, Brigadier Prakash embodies the values of courage, sacrifice, and honor. Brigadier Prakash Gokhale is a distinguished alumnus of the National Defence Academy, Khadakwasla, Defence Services Staff College, Wellington, and a College of Naval Warfare, Mumbai. Holding an MSc in Defense Studies and an MBA, he exemplifies the fusion of academic rigor with military expertise. Commissioned in the Brigade of the Guards, he played a pivotal role in the historic Battle of Hilli during the 1971 Indo-Pak War in Bangladesh. His combat experience extends to commanding an infantry battalion at an altitude of 18,000 feet in the Tibetan Plateau and a tank brigade in the Thar Desert. In 2004, after superannuation, he transitioned into the corporate sector, opting for a position at the renowned Hyatt Regency in Delhi. Within 3 months, he adeptly resolved a long-standing union issue, showcasing his leadership and conflict resolution skills. Under his guidance, Hyatt Regency Delhi achieved recognition as one of the top 20 workplaces in 2010 and consistently ranked high in Gallup employee engagement surveys. Brigadier Prakash Ghogle's career exemplifies a seamless blend of military discipline and corporate acumen. Even in retirement, Sir remains dedicated to advocating for his comrades and shaping young minds with his invaluable experiences. His parting message to the youth echoes his life lesson. हम लाए हैं तूफान से कश्ती निकाल के इस देश को रखना मेरे बच्चों संभाल के. We have stayed the boat through storms. Now it's your turn to safeguard this nation, my children. His distinguished background and proven track record make him an invaluable panelist in today's discussion. Please join me in welcoming Brigadier Prakash Ghogle to our panel, where his insights and experiences will undoubtedly enrich our conversation on the relevance of military leadership into corporate world.
May I now request Brigadier Ajit Apte to kindly come up on the stage. May I now request Dr. Rajeshwari Patel, Deputy Director, BITM, to felicitate Brigadier Ajit Apte with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Student Manager Sharmishta Pillai to introduce Brigadier Ajit Apte.
Thank you, Rohit. I am Sharmishta Pillai, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Technology and Management, Sri Balaji University, Pune. Allow me to introduce Brigadier Ajit Apte, an Army veteran whose dedication and service to our country is an inspiration to us all. Brigadier Ajit Apte is an alumnus of the National Defence Academy, Khadakwasla, Pune, and was commissioned from the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, into the Regiment of Artillery on 20 December 1970. He is a second-generation Army officer. He fought on the front line as an artillery officer in the India-Pakistan War of 1971, liberation of Bangladesh, on the Eastern Front in the Jessore-Khulna sector, and was subsequently deployed on the Western Front also. He has served on the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir and in the Eastern sector in the counter-insurgency environment. He has varied experience in command, staff, and instructional appointments. On superannuation from the Army, after more than 35 years of service in January 2006, he has served in 2 multinational corporate sectors as Vice President Head of HR and is on the Advisory Council of an MBA institute in Pune. He is widely traveled internationally and within the country. He is a fellow research scholar from the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, University of Pune, and is a member of the Center of Advanced Strategic Studies, Pune. He was former chairman of the British Business Group Pune chapter. He is a former test match and one-day international cricket commentator for the All India Radio and was on their national panel from 1987 to 2002. He is currently member of the India Advisory Council of a multinational talent sourcing company. Let us give a warm, heartfelt welcome to our distinguished Army veteran, Brigadier Ajit Apte, sir.
Good afternoon. This is the second session, and believe me, this is going to be as inspiring. First of all of you should get friendly with Brigadier Apte, because he has stored in his treasure a love letter which is dates back to 1971, and it belongs to a Pakistani officer who was his enemy, who he found, stole his suitcase and read all the love letters. One of them, he kept it with him because in that beautiful letter which I read, it was written that thrash India. So that was his inspiration to really fight 1971 to thrash them back. And this love letter has made rounds all over the world, and it is indeed a very famous one. And of course, we have Brigadier Gokhale, who's a brilliant cricketer, fast bowler, and he has many photographs with the then captain Pataudi, etc. So we have here wonderful people to speak about leadership in action. So I would like to start off, sir, with you as to, everything that you do in the armed forces is leadership in action. So could you describe that, your thoughts on leadership in action in the armed forces, as well as how they can be applicable to the corporate world? We could start from you, sir.
Yes, this works. When you go into battle, there are some things that you keep in mind which guide you to do it right. And I was advised by Ajit Apte to speak about the airborne assault in Maldives. It happened in 1988, many, many years ago. Most of you were not born. There was a coup in Maldives, and they asked India for help, and it took a little time for this decision to be made. And finally, we took off from Agra at 6 o'clock. So this is leadership in action. We were planning from about 7 o'clock in the morning till finally the decision was made. And we flew ostensibly to Trivandrum, because I could not have said I'm going to Male, because in that case the customs would have said land in Delhi for customs and immigration. I didn't have a passport and I had nothing to show except weapons. So we went and overflew Trivandrum and went to land in Male. The fellow would not put on the runway lights, so we kept descending against a black ocean. Now this is all a part of leadership. And how did I get that leadership? I was trained well. NDA, in the Air Force, every day is a training, just like for you people. Every day is a training. This is one example. The second example, all of you have heard of Manoj Pandey, Paramveer Chakra, who led the Gurkhas up into the Kargil heights. What takes him to those heights with his Gurkhas, that even with so much of enemy fire, he keeps going? That is leadership. Where did he learn it? He learnt it in NDA, he learnt it in his Spalton, he learnt it at home. And I say to all of you young people, the same courage, the same leadership qualities are running in your veins. Look for it. When you look for it, you will find it. If General Pandit found courage, he found it in his veins, you've got the same kind of stuff running. Look for it, you will find it. You don't have to wear olive green or blue uniform to show courage. You can show it in everything else. And I've seen the engineers in Onward Technology do it during my 22 years with Onward Technology. It is there. If you don't look for it, you won't find it. Manoj Pandey looked for it, found it, and showed it. There are many of you who are Manoj Pandays in the making. God bless. You will do it right.
Thank you so much, Group Captain Behu. That was indeed very, very inspiring. And now, Air Commodore Srivadharan, could you tell us?
Good afternoon to all of you. Well, I was, as Group Captain Behu just mentioned, that I was also blooded into the 71 war. It was baptism by fire. We were very young. I was just 22 years old at that point of time. And the war came upon us not as a surprise. We were fully prepared for it. And we trained for it. As he mentioned in his talk, that training is most essential. This heliborne operation, which was mentioned in my biodata, was the first of its kind by night into enemy territory, and that too behind enemy lines at Sylhet. We trained for this for about 2 months, as General Sagat Singh, whose brainchild this whole operation was, had warned us that we must be prepared when the war breaks out to do night heliborne operations. The role of our helicopter unit had nothing to do with heliborne operations or drifting troops. It was about just casualty evacuations and communication, that is carrying troops from A to B, but not into war-torn areas. But his very bold decision that we would be used for this particular operation was set right by us by training for it. And we did all the training at night at the airfield at Kumbigram, which is Silchar in Assam. And we did cross countries in similar terrain as what we would encounter at Sylhet. But we never knew that we were going to Sylhet. That was decided during the war. And we were given the task to heli-lift the entire 4x4 Gurkha rifles from Sylhet, from Kailashar, which is in Tripura, to Sylhet, and that too behind enemy lines. Group Captain Chandan Singh, who was controlling operations on behalf of the Air Force, had already done a recce in a Chetak helicopter and found that the ground was fit enough for us to land 3 helicopters at a time. And I was flying the Mi-4 helicopter, which carries, actually speaking, as per the book, only 9 to 11 passengers, 9 to 11 troops. But we carried even up to 24 with less fuel during the entire Bangladesh operations. So this operation was done at night, and first we dropped the helipad party, which consisted of one Air Force officer who with a communication set, who would give us directions whether there was any enemy fire or not. This location of the helipad was just in front of the Pakistani brigade headquarters at Sylhet. Therefore, our operation was fraught with danger, but we were all very young and full of enthusiasm and ready to do any kind of sortie. Anyway, the first troops were landed actually by day, and the helipad was secured by the Gurkhas, and then what happened was there was a break between the day operation and the night. Because the night was not really planned, as we were not supposed to be doing it, as Air Force had not cleared this kind of an operation. But Group Captain Chandan Singh took the decision that we would go at night, but before that, our flight commander, that's the 2IC of our unit, he went and dropped some troops there just to check whether we would be able to do it by night. when he went for that operation, he came to our crew room and he asked, who will volunteer for this particular sortie? Everybody put up their hands because the enthusiasm was so much there. And no one was really worried. We were only worried that that the objective should be achieved of dropping the entire Gurkha force at Sylhet. After he had done the recce and he had got shot, actually his helicopter got shot at number of places, but he managed to bring the aircraft back. Then we inducted 3 helicopters at a time, and we carried on operating all through the night. And there was no marking on the helipad as such. There was just one light point was there ahead, a gooseneck, which is what was giving us direction. That was the center of the helipad. And the officer who was with the wireless set at Sylhet, he was telling us when the fire was more or less. We could see the tracer bullets all around, but we said, no, we will still complete this operation. And it went on the whole night. And the entire Gurkha battalion was heli-lifted in 2 particular nights. The first night is the one I just described. And the next night also, we carried out this operation. So, as Group Captain Bevur said, that bravery and courage comes to you in circumstances. You don't even think about it. I don't think I ever even gave it a thought that there are bullets flying all around. We could see it happening, and we were briefed also, but that didn't really put us off. Our aim was to achieve the target or task of heli-lifting this entire battalion along with their equipment and their stores and the RT gun also. So this operation carried on, and we finished it on the 8th of December, and then we moved on to Agartala for the main heli lift, which was across the Meghna, which would take a little long time for me to describe. I think in conclusion, I would just say that battle inoculation is something which happens more in the army than in the Air Force. The Air Force, we are just, moved into war and said that, okay, this is the situation and this is as per your training. You got to land the helicopter there. Well, we did it. And I'm sure that all of you, whenever any such difficult tasks are assigned to you, you would achieve it without flinching.
Thank you. So what you need is courage and the determination to finish the job.
That's right.
Thank you so much. Brigadier Apte, over to you. So, leadership in action. So could you tell us anything with incidents, anecdotes, or something for the corporate world to follow?
Thank you, Vinita. Just to reiterate what General Bharadwaj said earlier, my daughter also was honorary Colonel Balasubramaniam student at the Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies. I have great respect for him, and also your head of the institute here. I've met him long back, Vice Chancellor, and I think they've built this place up very well. That's point number one. Second point is leadership in action. A lot of examples have been quoted. Yes, decision making is very important, because in action there is no teacher or professor or instructor to guide you as to what exactly has to be done to retrieve a situation. But on a lighter note, I think you first brought out that point about the love letter. Let me tackle that first.
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Yeah. As they say, all is fair in love and war. I was just 21 years old, a bachelor, and I was pitched into battle straight away. In fact, I started firing on 28th of September 1971, much before war was declared. I've had the great privilege or opportunity to fight and participate in an engagement of a tank battle. General Bharadwaj is a tank man, Armored Corps, and
I participated in that famous Battle of Garipur. I also subsequently, just before the final battle at Siramani, I found that we were against stiff enemy opposition, and my guns, I had to put them in a hide. And that's when I did a little bit of wandering around into the enemy bunkers which had been vacated. I found a briefcase there. I actually did a very foolish thing because the enemy could have sniped at me, but I entered a few bunkers and I found this briefcase. I opened it and found a lot of good, nice pictures. The girl was very pretty who has been writing these letters. Her pet name was Lily, and the officer was Qurban Ali Raza, Lieutenant from 38th Frontier Force. So I thought that's a very nice piece of treasure while we are fighting the war. Let me spend some time reading these love letters, and they had beautiful Urdu couplets. The girl wrote beautiful English. Handwriting was excellent. I think she was a teacher in some Montessori school in Karachi. I find the students more interested in this part than anything else. So I took that as a prized possession. And then the war finished on 17 December. And lo and behold, being the junior most officer in the regiment, I was tasked to arrange for the surrender, running around doing things. So in the school, I found an officer who looked familiar, Pakistan officer. I had his picture with me, so I called him. I said, "Are you Qurban Ali Raza?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Did you leave this place?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I have your briefcase." So I showed him the briefcase. He wanted the pictures back, which I gave him, but reluctantly rather I kept his girlfriend's picture with me. And I returned all the letters to him, but I kept one letter. And subsequently, I don't know what happened, but just before going in for the surrender, I handed over the girlfriend's photo also to him. Because I thought, I'm a bachelor, if my girlfriend writes and her picture is captured by the enemy, I don't think that will be a very good thing. So on humanitarian grounds, I returned that picture. It was in my pocket throughout the war, but after that I returned it. And his picture is with me. And of course, much later when I got married, that letter was with me. But my wife insisted that she will not have any other girl's letter in my possession. So I've quietly kept that letter laminated in my office, which you read. So that is one part. There's nothing to do with leadership in action. It's only humanitarian approach in battle.
This is leadership in action.
Leadership in action. But I've come across enemy air attacks, enemy shelling. As Squadron Leader Baliga mentioned, I saw the enemy fighter bombers over my gun position at treetop level. I've had the great opportunity of blindfolding Flight Lieutenant Parvez Mehdi and Flying Officer Khalil Ahmed, enemy pilots. Parvez Mehdi later became the Air Chief of the Pakistan Air Force. I must thank General Pandit's Engineer Regiment for giving me a raft to cross the river Kabadak against enemy fire for the Battle of Jessore. And that, I think, was the biggest decision that I took with no one around against enemy fire. So I think what happens is that once you confront a difficult situation, leadership automatically comes in, and there's something known as delegation of authority responsibility, because my commanding officer was behind and he asked me what I am doing. I said, I'm going to cross the river. I got the rafts. And my commanding officer, I think General Pandit brought out this point very well. If everything goes right, it's your credit. But if something goes wrong, I am there to take the responsibility. So my commanding officer was there, but I didn't know. Much later, I asked him, the battle was over, everything was fine, we won the war. And much later, when I commanded the same regiment 20 years down the line, I invited my commanding officer, Colonel Sahasrabuddhe. He is, I think, General Pandit's contemporary from the academy. And I asked him, I said, sir, I was looking forward to some advice and guidance because I was crossing a river and I didn't see you anywhere. So he said, no, he said, I was there. I was watching what you were doing, but you were responsible for the leadership and command of 120 people, and I didn't want to interfere. So I think one of the biggest lessons in leadership is once you delegate authority, responsibility, and control, you should not breathe down the neck of the person. Let him function. As Patton said, tell them what to do and don't tell them how to do it. They'll do it. So I reiterate the point which General Pandit gave in the earlier session. My commanding officer entrusted me. Rest all, as you know, we won the war. And I think that is the biggest example I can give of leadership in action. Thank you.
Great, brilliant. Thank you so much for that wonderful words. And now we come to Brigadier Gokhale. So how did you feel now? You know, India, Pakistan, and India, of course, won. And if you were the fast bowler today, what is the strategy you would adopt?
I thought you were going to talk of leadership.
Yeah, so that's a little bit break, not commercial break, cricket break.
Since you've diverted cricket, let me tell you, all three of us played cricket here. We were together in the academy. He was an excellent fast bowler who bowled bouncers and made us duck. Today he's trying to duck your first question.
Absolutely.
Actually, talking of cricket, actually NDA, during my time, I was the junior most in the team as a second termer, but probably I was taken because I was a left arm fast bowler. And that was the first and the last time that the National Defence Academy won the Maharashtra Invitation League. Chandu Borde was there, Hemant Kanetkar was there, and I have bowled Hemant Kanetkar neck and crop, you know, in one of the league games. Nana Joshi was there, all, you know, so many Ranji Trophy players were there. And I was the junior most and I took about 25 odd wickets. There was one more senior who was a sixth termer who took 44 wickets. 44 wickets, can you imagine, in the league? That was Mahajan who took those 44 wickets. Anyway, that aside, let me come to more serious matter.
Leadership in action, yeah.
Yeah, leadership in action. Actually, I have a lot of time for heroes, and General Pandit is one of them, because in my battalion, we fought the bloodiest battle of 1971 war. We had 68 killed and 130 wounded in that one action, which carried on for 42 hours. The battle was ding-dong. Sometimes we were winning, sometimes they were winning. We were fighting against 4 frontier force, which was a crack regiment of Field Marshal Manik Shah pre-partition.
Was it Battle of Basantar?
No, this was Battle of Hilli. If you Google Battle of Hilli, you'll find it. Battle of Basantar is in the west. Battle of Hilli is in the east. Okay. And General Bhardwaj has already made me infamous by talking about me. But anyway, I'll tell you a few stories of leadership in action as I have seen it. First, when we attacked on 23rd November, remember, war started on 3rd December, but when we attacked on 23rd November, it was so much of paddy fields. We were going through the paddy fields, and moment we crossed a certain, forming up place, tremendous fire came from all sides. And Indian troops, who are very brave and one of the best in the world, probably the best in the world, they just sat down. That was the time when Major Mandrekar, the leading assault company commander, got up and bucked them up. And that's how he went. Of course, the poor man died, was killed as he cleared one bunker. The second small story of leadership is his own platoon commander, Second Lieutenant Samsher Singh Samra, Mahavir Chakra. He was well ahead of the platoon. 50 yards ahead, can you imagine? 50 yards ahead of his platoon. And the previous day, he went to his coastmate and told him, his friend, that is, coastmate was his friend, he told him that, give this letter, this is a letter to my father, give this letter to my father, tell him not to look for any daughter for me. This is a watch. This watch is for you. Where I am going, I will not need it. So his mind was made. That is how he destroyed 2 bunkers. Third bunker, he always wanted to pull a machine gun from the bunker, and he was found dead trying to pull a machine gun. The third instance of leadership is a third youngster. In fact, Major Mandrekar's unit, all 3 were killed. We had, as I said, 4 officers killed. 68 killed and 130 wounded is not a joke out of 400. This officer, Second Lieutenant P.N. Parmanand Gupta, just joined the service. Look at his guts. When things were, in a war situation, it is very fluid. You don't know when, what is happening there. I was the adjutant of the battalion. He spoke to the CO. CO told him, you gather whatever chaps you got and attack again. That is how we went and attacked again. He was found next to the tree with bullets right from top to toe. Riddled with bullets, couldn't make out who he was. This officer was recommended for Mahavir Chakra. He didn't get a single award. In fact, years later, the defense minister went to his house in Yamunanagar. Defense minister was Bansilal, I think. He went to his house during election time and gave his mother a sword which said, Second Lieutenant Parmanand Gupta, Mahavir Chakra. So that is how our politicians are. They have no sensitivity. These are the 3 examples. The fourth one was of one of my troops, one of my own Sahak, or batman, who while we were assaulting finally, he got a bullet. That bullet, he didn't say a word. He just told me, Saab, goli lag gaya, aap aage jao. I had him evacuated. He was living till about 2 months back. I used to send him some help from time to time. But that bullet was embedded there. Till then, it could not be removed. That is Guardsman Ganga Sagar, my own Sahak. So these are the 4 odd stories which I want to tell you about leadership. As far as corporate world is concerned, I was brought out. I worked in Hyatt Regency Delhi, the biggest hotel in Delhi, as Director of Human Resources for 10 years. And there I applied the same principle. I applied the same principle what I learned in the army. One was the Mutt and Jeff technique, which I learned in jungle warfare school in Mizoram. There was a union problem. Nobody would go there as Director HR. I sorted out that problem, applying this Mutt and Jeff technique with my security manager and labor manager. And within 3 months, I sorted out a 6-year-old union problem. So that is as far as my tenure in hotel is concerned. Finally, I believed that the employees were the principal assets. That's how I built them up. That's how I survived for 10 years in the biggest hotel. And my motto was, always be kind, then correct. Just to give you a small example, our policy was that any tips which are received in any restaurant has to be collected centrally and given to culinary and the F&B service. There was one Johnny, one waiter, who was caught pocketing 500 rupees as a tip. He was promptly brought to me, and I told him, old chap, you have to go. I had to, he said, yes, sir, but I told him, you got to sign and you go. You know, sign a resignation. He said, sir, before signing the letter, let me tell you one thing. I said, tell. He said, sir, my father fought the battle with you. I said, yes, father fought the battle with me. I said, which battle? He said, Battle of Hilli. I said, that's correct. I said, which battalion? He said, 5 Gadwal. 5 Gadwal was the adjoining battalion which also did very well in Battle of Hilli. It was dharma sankat for me that I have to sack him as a policy and what to do. How can I retain him? So fortunately, there was another big hotel, 7-star hotel on Janpat. I rang up the director HR and told him, I said, please take this boy. He's made one mistake, one aberration, he won't do it again. That's how I saved myself and I got him a job. So that is as far as my corporate tenure is concerned. As I said, look after your men and treat them as your personal assets. And lastly, as I said, there was a lot of discussion that we fight for the nation. I'm sorry, I beg to differ. We fight for our regiment first, and then the nation. General Bhardwaj already stole the thunder from me by saying Naam, Namak, Nishan. But I can add one more. I said, Nischay par apni jeet karu. Thank you, and thank you for honoring me.
Thank you so much. It was really very interesting. So I just ask one question each. All will be different, and then we throw it open for questions. So I'd like to ask you, what he just mentioned, is that there's a general attitude of civilians that in India at least, or even the soldiers and everybody in the armed forces feels that they do not get the respect, they are not acknowledged for all the bravery for keeping our nation safe. So what do you want to say about it?
The question is, if I'm right, please correct me, that the non-military population does not honor the military of the Indian armed forces.
That's right.
I must confess that this is not true. This is not true. My own experience in Pune, you have to expect and seek what is due to you. All of you people are civilians. None of you, I think, are heading for the armed forces. But my experience in Pune has been that whenever anybody else has come to know that I am an ex-Fauji, they have been very generous, kind, and accommodating. Not that I am a regular violator of rules, but everybody has been very kind. The problem is that most of you don't know how to show your appreciation. That is the problem. मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ to show the Fauji that I respect you. That is something which should be taught. To become a good leader, it's not enough to be commissioned in the armed forces. You need to learn a lot more. Dress, deportment, etiquette, how to conduct yourself in office. All these things are important. Unfortunately, these are not taught in management schools and management colleges because they find it embarrassing. And I know this to be a fact. They don't teach you how to dress. They don't teach you how to take care of body odor. Because they say it's so embarrassing, but it's important. These are part of leadership techniques. So, in my book, the civilians do not have less respect for the Fauji. They don't know how to express and show that respect. It is there. It's there in you. And thank you for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving a very positive perspective of it.
I second what he just said, because for me also, I feel exactly the same. I think that on Facebook and WhatsApp and all, there's a lot of thing going around that no respect for the armed forces, and in America and England and all, they stand up when soldiers come, or when armed forces people are traveling in the aircraft. I think that's a Western thing, What we as Indians in our culture, what respect we get, at least in my now almost 20 years of retired service, I find that everyone respects an armed forces person, as long as you behave in a proper way. That is also most important.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and as Group Captain Bevur just said, that this is not taught, and neither those points about dress and deportment and body odor, those are very, very relevant. And that is another aspect of civics, actually, uh, more than respect, So that should be
So could you
conveyed.
just so this is anyway your sub question. What would you tell the students? How do you expect them to show a respect to any soldier? Like what means, like there are many civilians.
They have just, actually, they have just done it for us as we entered. I mean, I have never in my entire life ever seen something. It's really fantastic. I mean, unimaginable as far
Wonderful
as...
students. That's true. That's true. So I come to Brigadier Apte. We leadership in action we have talked about in the war. So could you tell us that what is leadership during peacetime, and how did you go about it?
Hello. Yeah. In fact, in peacetime, that is while I was in service, there are various examples in command of the unit, in command of the brigade, and subsequently also. Some things which come out very, straightforward. Like I'll give you a simple example. Since you have invited the ladies here today, unfortunately my wife could not come. But I'll tell you where the lady also plays a part. And this happened in my regiment when I was in command in the run of Kutch. About 30 years ago, I commanded the regiment. And my wife told me, she said, you are training the troops very hard, and I know that it is a hard peace station. But she said, I find that, water is inadequate. And she said, your water bowsers come to the family lines. But she said, when I have gone round, I have seen women in the family way picking up the buckets. So she said, can you do something? That I would like water to come in every family accommodation through the tap. That set me thinking. I said, we've been talking about leadership, we've been talking about command, we've been training the people, and we do a lot of operational alerts. But this is one point which my wife has told me. So I called my second in command. I said, look, we have so many family quarters, and we must ensure that water is not to be picked up in buckets, because it's difficult for the ladies. So he came back to me after 2 days. He said, sir, water pumps are available in the market. In those days, the pump was costing 2 lakhs. And he said, sir, if you agree, we can put the water pumps on the water trailers. And I said, okay, do that, buy 2 pumps and push the water into the top tank and let every house get the water through the tap. It took me 1 week, but it happened in my regiment. And now what happens is, in a peace station, we don't get accommodation regiment-wise. My regiment may be sharing family accommodation with the other battalions. And my artillery regiment was part of the Independent Infantry Brigade group. So I had 4 infantry battalions, and mine was the only artillery regiment. So I told my people, don't differentiate between my regiment and the infantry battalion. All quarters in that building will get water pumped right on the top. And the water was pumped. And let me tell you, the brigade commander, Brigadier Subhash Pathak, from the Jack Rifles called me. He said, Ajit, have you done this? I said, yes, sir. He said, marvelous. He said, this has never been done because water bowsers go and the water buckets are picked up. Brilliant idea. I said, no, sir, it's not my idea. I must confess that it is my wife's idea. And as very much earlier, General Pandit also brought out that you asked him a question, who's the boss at home? So I think here I must attribute this leadership or innovativeness to my wife because I had never thought of it. I was only concentrating on firing, course shootings and all. But this happened in my regiment. I was complimented by the brigade commander and I must give this credit to my wife. So I think the wives, as all of them have also said, play an excellent role. They manage everything. They are the actual leaders. So when you spoke of leadership in action, I think I performed this leadership in action in peace, but the credit must go to my wife. And my troops had absolutely no water problem, and the water would come in the taps. So I think this is one example which I can give.
That's absolutely brilliant. So your wife is absolutely brilliant. So even at the home front, I guess you have never even repaired any tap, and she must be the more intelligent person to handle things, and you're afraid of her.
She actually tells me that you're of no use at home. She said, you hardly listen to me. So I just put my head down and accepted.
Anyway, you're glowing in hell, so it has worked for you.
Yeah, just a clarification. I was not talking of civilians. Civilians, I've got a lot of respect from civilians.
I know politicians.
I'm talking of politicians. And you'll find that hardly any politician's son is in the services. I have one friend of mine, who's no more, of course, who was Mr. S.M. Joshi's son. He went on to become a wing commander. So I'm talking of politicians, I'm not talking of civilians. Civilians have given us a lot of love and respect. So that is one. Secondly, you're talking about wives, and you are talking about the boss. So like they say, a hackneyed saying, I am the boss, but I have the permission of my wife. So that is how it is with me. I must say that, like General Pandit says, the wives are unsung heroes. And out of 36 years of my service, plus 4 in NDA, 36 years that is, 25 years were in field area. And I never seen my child grow up. It was all her doing. Incidentally, my son was an international golfer. He played for India and was India #2 in amateur golfer. Thank you.
So anyway, we come to an end, and of course we've got 3 cricketers here, and all googlies must have been bowled to them all throughout their life with their better halves. But thank you. Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, and I open the floor for questions. So anybody?
4 cricketers, by the way.
Oh yes, 4. I mean, a lot of the NDA cricket team is right here.
Yeah, in fact, he got the best fielder award because of my bowling. He took, I think, 5 catches. 5 catches.
Any question, please?
Everybody wants lunch. Everybody wants lunch. Okay, that's fine.
Hello. Yeah, what I understand is that Atmanirbhar, am I right? Yeah, so Atmanirbhar has been initiated in a very big way. And as I must say that till 1962, when the debacle took place, somehow our defense production and our focus on the armed forces was very limited. And I'll not go into details of that. But post 62, 65, mainly 71, and the era that has followed, We have accelerated the requirement of defense production. We are going in a big way to open it up to the small scale as well as the medium scale industries and even some of the corporate sectors. Like if you have read Bharat Forge, then your Larsen and Toubro, Tata Technologies, they're all going in for acquisition of guns, making it here, even our own aircraft industries. And there has been a great propulsion as far as defense production and decreasing the reliance on other nations. But all I can say is no nation in this world is self-reliant 100%. Even the Americans, the Chinese, you just name them, they are collecting other technological items and parts and then doing it themselves. So I'm sure we will also, in times to come, take care of this and have lesser reliability because of the geopolitical and the socio-economic conditions all over the world. You are now seeing the Israel crisis with Hamas, then also the Ukraine-Russia. So the world situation is such that India needs to propel its defense production, enlarge its scope of making its own weapons. And as I always say, that the defense of the nation must be of paramount importance to ensure that business can flourish, and so also all other industries and departments, because unless you have a strong armed forces, which is the deterrence to other nations, I don't think we can live comfortably and peacefully. We are lucky that in the First World War and in the Second World War, there was very little damage to India as a nation. But you see the other nations, America, Europe, they all have graduated from near destruction to what they are today, even Japan after the 2 atomic bombs. So our industry is gathering momentum, gathering pace, and I'm sure that in times to come, we will harness all the potential and resources that we have and divert it to proper use, not only for defense production, for also infrastructure improvement. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Thank you. Would you like to?
Yes. In conclusion, I would just like to add that as far as I am concerned, I am highly honored and indebted to Balaji Institute of Management and Corporate Citizen for inviting me and felicitating me and making this a wonderful occasion. And all, I would also like to compliment all the staff who've done an excellent job in making our stay over here so pleasant and nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Sir, I have been to many service selection boards earlier. So I have a question, like even whenever I went there, I got a feedback that you will have to be yourself. So I just wanted to know, what does be yourself means according to a defense person? Like, how can we implement those things in our life?
Who has been on the... Have you been on selection board? Let's see. Okay. Listen, fellow, Beto, please sit down. I don't know who told you to be yourself, and when you stopped being yourself, son. You've been yourself for a long time. When you say you have this imagination that this is what I have to present before the interviewing people for them to select me, and that you have to be different than what you actually are. The Forge does not want an impersonator. We want a guy or a girl as she is. And there is nothing spectacular required by the Services Selection Board. They just want a good Desi Munda and Desi Kudi. Nothing special about that. Okay? So maybe you were trying, they have these academies where they tell you that what to say in the services selection board. Your first sentence is what he said, second is also what the tutor said, but that interviewer chap is a master. When he asks you the third question, you become yourself. So I would say to you, wherever you go for an interview, you are going to have campus interviews, be yourself. You are better than what you think you are, and you will get it. Absolutely. God bless.
Yeah, actually, hello? Yeah? Okay.
Please.
Yeah, actually, I agree with Group Captain Behur. In fact, a youngster used to follow me around in my Magarpatta society and wanting to join the services. And I used to mentor him. He tried 3 times. Finally, he got through NDA. So maybe you can try again and you can get through. Thank you.
So yeah, we have last question, please. Good question, I think.
I don't think you'll come. I say, one moment. This is a brand new scheme. All of us have left the service 20 years or 25 years ago. It is improper. Please sit down better. It is not correct, and we are not competent to comment on this. Whatever I have read, whatever I have heard, it will take a few years, a few, turnovers of these Agniveers for us to understand whether we are doing it right or we are not doing it right. There are many, many complex compulsions which have produced the Agniveer. I don't know whether it is the right thing or not, the method it has been done. Thoda time lagega. And we certainly cannot give you the answer, because we don't know the compulsions. Okay? I hope I have answered your question, because we cannot give you the answer. We don't have the knowledge. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. With this, we end this wonderful session, and it has been so inspiring, anecdotal, especially the love letter, which will be remain for a long time to come. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Dr. G.K. Shurre, Vice Chancellor SBUP, to present the token of appreciation to Group Captain Anant Bevur, VM Gallantry. Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Rashmi Mahajan, Deputy Director, BIIB, to present the token of appreciation to Air Commodore Ram Mohan Sridharan, VM. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Dr. Shweta Banerjee, Deputy Director BIM HRD, to present the token of appreciation to Brigadier Prakash Gokhale, VSM. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Ms. Vinita Deshmukh, Editor, Corporate Citizen Business Magazine, to present the token of appreciation to Brigadier Ajit Apte.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now request our student manager, Riyanka Sarkar, to put forward the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rohit. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Riyanka Sarkar, Student Manager at Balaji Institute of Modern Management, Operations and Supply Chain, stand before you on this remarkable occasion with immense gratitude and a profound sense of privilege. On behalf of Sri Balaji University, Pune, I extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to each and every one of you for gracing with our presence today. Firstly, I would like to express our sincerest appreciation to Lieutenant General B.T. Pandit, Veer Chakra, PVSM, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, and Lieutenant General Dalip Bhardwaj, PVSM, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, AVSM, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here. Your wealth of experience and wisdom are invaluable to our institution, and your presence has truly enriched our event. Squadron Leader Milind Baliga, sir, we are deeply honored to have you here. Your service to our nation and the values you represent serve as an inspiration to our students, and we are grateful for your presence today. Group Captain Anant Bevu, sir, VM Vayu Medal Gallantry. Your dedication to the Indian Air Force and your commitment to excellence are qualities that our students look up to. Your presence today is a source of motivation for us all. Air Commodore RM Sridharan, sir, VM Vayu Medal. We are honored to have you grace this occasion with your wisdom and insights. Your career in the Indian Air Force has been exemplary, and we are grateful for the knowledge you have shared with us today. Brigadier Prakash Gokhale, sir, VSM Vishisht Seva Medal, and Brigadier Ajit Apte, sir, we thank you for joining us today and for your valuable contributions to our institution. Your experiences and guidance are invaluable to our students. I would also like to extend our gratitude to all our faculty members, staff, and students for their hard work and dedication in making this event a success. Lastly, to a wonderful audience, we appreciate your presence and support. Your participation has added depth and meaning to this event. In closing, I'd like to reiterate our immense gratitude to our esteemed guests for gracing this occasion and for their contributions to our institution. We look forward to continued interactions and collaborations that will benefit our students and the academic community as a whole. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you at Sri Balaji University, Pune again in the future. Have a wonderful day.
I'd also like to add on behalf of everyone here, thanking Mrs. Pandit and Mrs. Baliga. You all have graced the occasion, and we are really honored with that. We all stay quite far off, and yet you all have come. So thank you very much, and for all the support you have given your husbands so that they may keep our country safe. Thank you very much.
Now I request everyone to please give a standing ovation to all our guests.